Welcome back guys, Mark here. Today I would like to show you what you can do in Lightroom to make your photos looks really sharp. I will show you how sharpening tools exactly work and what you can do with them in practice. We will edit together portrait, landscape and cityscape, and you will really see the difference. Let's go to the Lightroom. First things first, let's talk what Lightroom can do for you and what cannot. So if your picture is out of focus, it will be still out of focus, no magic here. But Lightroom can manipulate contrast very well in few different ways, and this is something what really can help your picture, like for this one. Okay, let's go into the details. So I'm going to the detail section, to the sharpening relevant sliders here. I would like to show you what exactly is happening once you are using those sliders. So let's get some zoom. Okay, this is 1600 to show you in details what is happening. So I'm starting with Amount slider. You can see if I'm moving it right, the new lines are getting created here. Okay, and if I'm going further, those lines getting stronger and stronger, and even new lines are getting created. So this is how Lightroom is trying to increase the contrast to make impression of better sharpness on the picture. Let's take a look how it impacts on a real picture. Okay, this is just originally taken without any modification. I'm going for 200 zoom to show you how it looks like. Okay, so again, moving sharpening. You can see it's getting more and more sharper, less and more. So difference is quite big. Maybe it doesn't look natural. This is exactly how it looks like, at least for the face. Before and after. Okay. Cool. So right now I'm trying to use radius slider. And you can see if I'm going right, let's say the total line is getting thicker and thinner if I'm getting left. If I'm getting right, this is broader, but as well this is some kind of gradient. Maybe better it will be visible once we will move to the picture. Okay, 200. Yeah, so by default it was 1 and I'm going right. You can see for the face, I think this is quite beneficial to use the bigger radius, because this is more soft, and on the face we would like to see rather softness or hardness. But even for eyes, I think this is better if we're around 2 or maybe even 3. Okay, I will leave 3. Okay. Okay, and the next slider is detail. You can see if I'm going right, it's getting even more contrast. The lines are getting harder. I mean, if something was dark, it's darker right now. If something was bright, it's brighter right now. Okay, I think that is a big difference, and you can see it as well. Okay, move again to the picture to see real impact. By default we have 25 and going right. Okay, so you can see, so for sure for skin this is not something what we would like to get, and even for eyes I think this is not the perfect one. But let's focus on eyes only. I think something around 40 is okay. This was before our sharpening, this is after. So in that moment it looks like this one. Let's get back to previous. let's get back to the previous picture to show you the next slider, masking. I am clicking Alt because I'm using Windows, but on Mac you can click Option and move right. So this is just masking, and masking is relevant to everything what we use here in sharpening. White areas are impacted by our sharpening and the black areas are not. Here it's not super visible, so I'm jumping again here, and let's see. Right now whole picture is white, so it means whole picture is impacted by our changes. But if I will move slowly right, you can see the less and less, and finally only a part. So I will set it somewhere here and you will see. Okay, it was without masking and this is with masking. Okay, so I think something like that would be good, because you could see eyes are impacted but skin is impacted much less. Okay, and this is before and this is after. Before, after. Okay, as you could see how details work, and you are aware this is trying to manipulate the contrast, you are probably very aware there are also other tools in Lightroom which can manipulate contrast. Okay, you are absolutely right, there are at least 3 such tools, and it is contrast, texture and clarity. Okay, let's take a look on contrast. As you can see, or maybe even better you will see here, if I'm moving contrast slider, just dark areas getting darker and bright areas getting brighter. Okay, so this is what contrast is doing. But if we look into the details here, we can see nothing special is happening around the lines where different brightness are adhering. So nothing special is happening here. It's just impact on the whole level of brightness. Okay, cool. It was the easiest one. And if we will take a look how clarity works, you can see on high level it looks maybe similar, but something is happening around those lines. You can see some kind of gradient. So it's making dark areas darker, but especially along those lines. So this is from clarity and this is from contrast. I really like clarity. Okay, and the last one is texture. You can see, and clarity, so quite similar effect, but it looks a bit stronger. So I mean also it impacting mostly the places around the line and less strongly the rest of the area, but also with the gradient. Okay, cool. So this is how it works, and we have at least 4 tools to make our pictures sharper. Let's look on the live examples. Okay, so let's try to make that photo more sharp. Maybe I will set reference photo. Okay, so this is exactly the same. Okay, and we will be modifying the right one. So firstly I'm focusing on sharpening in detail section and moving slider. Okay. Not without with. You can see on the left side. Okay. And radius. If you remember that sharpening in amount was creating some lines between different brightness levels. And right now this is happening, but you can see the impact on the face. And what radius was doing those lines bigger or thinner. And you can see that for face, I think the highest, at least for this example, the highest values are better. So I'm leaving it on 3. Okay, and the detail. Let's try. Ooh, definitely not. We don't want to see as much details on the face. Okay. But I think eyes looks quite good. And the last slider, if you remember, I click Alt because I'm using Windows, but as well you can click Option on Mac. Right now the whole picture is impacted by that what we set in sharpening, but if I'm moving right, I'm changing it. It's right now mostly borders. Nice. Okay. So you can see it was I said 78, but it was everything, and right now is 78, maybe even less. Okay, so you can see it was before and this is after. So I think the difference is quite big, and I think that was quite useful. Okay, before, after, before, after. Okay, super. So we used sharpening on that picture mostly to help the eyes, but apart of that, as discussed earlier, we have also other sliders. First of all, texture. I don't want to use it. Maybe without zoom it looks okay, but if we will zoom, I'm not happy about the results. Too much details are visible on the skin. Okay, so what I will do, first of all, that picture is a bit flat, so I'm adding a bit of contrast, but not too much. I think this is absolutely fine, and still skin looks good, and I'm adding clarity. I love this slider, but cannot overuse it. Okay, so something like that. I think right now picture has better character, and still skin is definitely okay. So it was before our modifications, and this is after. Before and after. So I think right now it looks much better. Let's take a look at other examples. Okay, let's try to do that picture a bit more sharp with the tools we learned a bit earlier. You can see this picture has been taken at night in Dubai Marina, but looks a bit flat. So let's try to help it a bit. So of course we can try with contrast. And yes, we can see some changes, but this is not that what I'm looking for. So I'm resetting contrast to 0. And right now I'm trying to go with texture. Okay, and I think the effects are better. Okay, on the left side before, on the right side after. You can see there are effects, and the right side is more sharp, but unfortunately also some noise appeared here because of texture. But it is absolutely fine, I think, if we think about the ground. Okay, and let's forget for a moment about texture, and let's try to go with clarity. Yeah, and here you can see the power of Lightroom. I really like that effect. You can see how it impacts on light and shadows, and I think this is quite spectacular, but it's easy to overuse it. On the left side you can see without, and on the right side with clarity. Okay, so I think difference is quite big, and I'm trying to add also the texture in the same time. So definitely on the right side we have picture much more sharpened, but I think it looks not natural. So what I will do, I will reduce texture a bit and maybe clarity. Okay, and I think it looks better. But if because of any reasons you would like to impact selectively, so you can use, as always, masking. Let's go to masks and choose radial gradient. I will focus on the ground. Okay, and here I will go with clarity to full. You can see the difference, and as well with texture. Okay, and maybe even I will add a bit light. Cool. So per my view, it was good. Let's compare it again. So you can see on the left side before and on the right side is after. Okay, cool. Okay, let's try quickly edit also this photo. Per my view, this is really amazing view, but a bit flat. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm trying to add a bit contrast, and I think this is really good idea. If I'm about 40, I think the effects are good, and maybe I should leave it as it is right now. But let's try also other possibilities. So I'm trying with texture. Okay, if I will go up totally, so this is totally awful. I'm super not happy what I'm getting. This is very grainy, and no, definitely we don't want to have it. But even if I'm adding it only a bit, I think I'm not happy about the results. So let's leave it as 0. And right now let's try with clarity. Okay, if I'm adding clarity only a bit, then I think it's improving the photo. But if I will go further, I think the view right now is totally not natural. And of course this is not something what we would like to get. So if I will go to 0, it's okay. Even if I leave it about 19, 20 is also good, quite good. Let's compare. Okay, on the left side is original, I mean after some editing, but on the left side is original, I mean after some modifications, but nothing relevant to sharpness. And on the right side is that what we modified in last seconds. Okay, I think the right one is much better. Cool, done. I hope that video was useful for you. If you have any questions or remarks, please leave them in comments, I will answer for sure. I really appreciate if you click like button and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like that in the future. Thank you very much, guys.